Hello! Welcome back to Justin Talks Villa. Sorry, it's been a bit of a while since the last video. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all doing good. Sun is out today, which is lovely. A few little subjects to cover today. I thought I'd jump on and talk a bit about Youri TIELEMANS. I'm going to have a quick look at the projected pots for next season's Europa League, see what kind of teams are in and around to look forward to. And then I'm going to answer some questions. I put a tweet out on Twitter asking if anybody had any questions, and I've had some really interesting questions. So I'm going to go through a few of those as well, and then give you a quick update on where I am with the weight loss and that side of things, but I'll talk about that right at the end. So this is going to be 99% football, and then I'll explain what's going to happen with the weight loss journey and the stuff afterwards. So if you're new, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and get involved in the comments section below. Before I start talking about Youri TIELEMANS, I just wanted to point out this T-shirt that I am sporting today. It is a Sue Verity special. She has very, very kindly given me this because of going over and interviewing her. And she was very, very pleased about how that went. And this was her gift to me to say thank you. So I said I'd wear it on the next pod. I'll drop in the comments, in the description below after I've finished, I'll drop in a link to where you can get them. I think she's got the Consul ones, the Unai Emery ones, and Paul McGrath one is going to be coming soon, amongst others. So that's that done. So let's get into one of the big discussions of the week, which I've seen floating around, and it is around this man here, Aston Villa's current double Player of the Year has been in the news. Why has he been in the news? So let's have a look at the quotes. Take that off. Of course, I was able to score 5 goals and provide 10 assists this season, but I was also influential in my team's play. I've been consistent and I think I've improved throughout the season, TIELEMANS explained. The former Leicester City man has a contract until 2027 and has made it clear he has confidence from both Emery and the club. Despite this, the Aston Villa player hasn't closed the door on a potential exit this summer. There's nothing definitive or ruled out about whether I'll stay or leave, but I feel good at Aston Villa. I feel a lot of confidence from the club and the manager, he added. Right. What do we think about that? I'm not concerned, if I'm brutally honest. I think I made my point pretty certain at the start of this window. I don't see anything being off the table as far as incomings and outgoings go, and I definitely don't think that rules anybody out. There's obviously players who I don't want to see leave Aston Villa, and I think Youri TIELEMANS is one of them. I wouldn't like to see him leave, but if it's deemed necessary for him to leave and the money's there for him, then he's a player that potentially we could make a huge profit on. Now, that's not the way I like to think about football, but it's where we are. We've got this small PSR issue. If you go back and have a watch of my Kieran Maguire episode, it's not as bad as we think. I think we're in and around 15 to 25 million pounds. So my sort of thinking is we don't need to sell a huge, big name player for 80, 100 million. And we've got a few of those in our books that could raise that kind of money. And TIELEMANS, I think I'd put in that bracket as well. I mean, he's 27 years of age. He's just had one of the best seasons of his career. He's captain in the Belgian team. He's still got 2 years left in his contract. And for me, he was in the top 5 midfielders in the Premier League last season. So at what point do you look at players and think when would be a good time to sell them? If you look at Leon Bailey last summer, we would have got a huge premium for him after the season he had. And then he went on to, unfortunately, not live up to that reputation this season. I think what's important to say as well is when seasons end and players go off and play international tournaments or for their countries, which they very much do, a lot of, especially players that are high profile, then this time of year with the transfer window opening, I think they always get asked these type of leading questions, and we don't know what the question was put to him, and all we're getting is the answer now. If he'd have said maybe to him, do you see yourself leaving Aston Villa anytime soon? Do you think, you could be tempted to leave Aston Villa? Then I think that answer comes across, in that context, not too bad, And I think he knows that there's definitely going to be incomings and outgoings at Villa, and Unai Emery's got to still build the squad that he sees that's fit for next season. So nobody's unsellable. I've said this before. I think we've seen links now with Onana, Rodgers, Watkins, Emi Martinez, Boubacar Kamara. All these players have been linked, and they're our best players. So it's obvious that they're all going to get linked with moves away. Now with the Saudi money, a lot of them have been linked with moves over there. I do see something in the Emi Martinez to Manchester United. I don't want to see him go there, if I'm brutally honest, but I think there's a lot of noise now starting to emanate from Manchester United about Emi Martinez, and something I did hear a little inkling of was a potential swap with Emi Martinez and Alejandro Garnacho. But I'm not going to really do a lot of transfer talk, unless I think I will definitely jump on when we sign someone or when we sell someone to give an opinion. But I'm not going to be jumping on just to talk about a lot of these things. I'll probably do what I'm doing here and just add these interesting sort of things that crop up in and around our club when I do a sort of an overview episode. So that's my thinking on the Tielemans comments. I'm not overly concerned at the moment. I think that can be taken out of context. But if he's to be sold, then he's to be sold. We got him on a free transfer. Surely in the open market, you'd be looking at, I don't know, upwards to maybe 60, 70, 80 million pounds for him. And some people might, laugh at that. But he's 27. He's a fantastic player. So, peak of his career, got a good 5 years left in him. So I think that, 80 million pound would sort a lot of issues out. I wouldn't want to see 5 or 6 be sold, but if you can sell one and sort out a lot of issues, then okay, we'll do that. We'll do it that way. Right, okay, that's that one done. Let's move on to our next subject for today. Hello, welcome back. So today, the second subject I'm going to be talking about is quite interesting for me. Anyway, I want to start being positive and looking forward to next season. It is the 25-26 Europa League projected pots. And I saw this morning and I thought, wow, look at some of the names in there. And I think this is typical of our luck. I think last season's Europa League was pretty weak, but this season's or next season's, Europa League looks pretty strong, to be honest. And I think you look at the teams, especially in pot one, Roma, Porto, Rangers, Feyenoord, Lille, Zagreb, Betis, Salzburg, and Villa. Some serious outfits there. Pot two, Fenerbahce, Braga, Lyon, PAOK, Plzeň, Ferencváros, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Young Boys, and Slovan Bratislava. And even if you pick out teams in pot three, teams that have played Champions League football, Basel, Anderlecht, Palace, who we know all about, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. We struggle against them, and now we've got to potentially face them in the latter stages should we get that far of the Europa League next season. And Nice, and then even pot four, Bologna, we've played obviously recently, Celta Vigo, Stuttgart, Genk. There's some really, really good sides in this. And what I would say is that looks like there's some amazing away games next season in Europe as well. I was lucky enough to go to Monaco this season, which was a fantastic experience. So I would like to get to one away game in the Europa League next season. I think that's my target every year, is to try and get to one away game in Europe. So let's see who we draw, and let's see what the competition has in store, with exciting times ahead with another European adventure on the cards. So let's move on to the next section, which will be questions. Had some really interesting questions, so I'm going to bang them on the screen now and talk about them. All from X, Twitter, as I still call it, as I think everybody still calls it. Okay, Nick Swistak. Would Grealish fit into the current team, and could you see him coming back? I've seen lots and lots of talk about this week, and it is an obvious link back to Aston Villa. We all know what he did for us and what he means to a lot of us. Me in particular, I love Jack. I think I've gone on record as saying he's probably the second best player I've ever seen at Aston Villa in the flesh, behind Paul McGrath. He's that good. So now, obviously, the rumours are starting to sort of swirl around about him leaving Manchester City. I've seen him linked with Spurs today. I've seen him linked with Everton today. I've seen him linked with a move abroad. But Aston Villa will always come up in the conversation based on what happened and how he's a Villa fan. So answer the question, Justin. Would Grealish fit into the current team? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because the Jack Grealish that left Aston Villa, there's not an Aston Villa fan on this planet that draws breath that would not have that Jack Grealish back in Aston Villa's team. And quite frankly, you would make a position for him. 100% he would just play because he was that good when he was at Villa. Would the current Jack Grealish and the form he's shown over the last probably 18 months get in Villa's team? Currently, no, I don't think he would. So that's the big debate, isn't it? Would we be confident of getting him back to anywhere near his best? Should he go somewhere else and suddenly start playing? Would we all sit there thinking, "Oh, we should have brought him back"? I'm on the fence with it, and I will give my usual answer, and it's not sitting on the fence. It is an honest answer that my heart would say yes, but my head currently says no. But if the management team, the transfer team, feel it is the right thing to bring him back and they get to talk to him and they get assurances from him and they feel like it would suit us where we are currently at, then I would absolutely back him 100%. I know there's a few bits and bobs and spats from his family and the Villa fans, but let's not beat around the bush here. If Jack Grealish came back, started the first game of the season, and was absolutely sensational, everyone would be over the moon. So, could I see him come back? Potentially, yes. Will he? I don't think he will, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this situation. Next one, another transfer one. Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free as a backup. Now, my instinct was no straight away. Absolutely not. No chance. 50 games injured in the last 3 seasons he's missed through injury. He's only scored 18 goals in 4 seasons. So based on those 2 statistics alone, I think it would be very difficult to make a case to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin and anybody be over the moon or even remotely happy that he would have signed. But I am also open-minded enough to put the counter argument out that, again, a bit like Jack, I suppose, a fully fit foreign Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as we saw for England when he played, and as we saw in that season for Everton when he was absolutely outstanding. He's an asset. He's absolutely phenomenal in the air. He leads the line really well. He's physical. He's a big unit. He obviously, we want to keep Ollie Watkins, so having that supplementary striker on the bench to help out. I would like to see us go after somebody a bit younger with a bit better profile, less injuries, and a better track record over the last 3 seasons. But I don't know. I think he'll end up going somewhere else. But on a free transfer, if his wages weren't too bad, we've seen players you play deals. So it, probably a no from me, but I can sort of understand the logic behind somebody taking a punt on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And again, somebody will back, some manager somewhere, some coach will back themselves to get the best out of him. And if they do, then on a free transfer, they could have a real bargain. Stoney, did we ever hear back from the PGMOL regards our complaint on the final day of the season, or did it get swept under the carpet? So, as we all know, we did lodge an official complaint with the PGMOL after the controversial red card and disallowed goal for Morgan Rogers. I think it was done more to highlight the incompetence of the referee on the day, and I think they were so annoyed that they wanted to make a bit more of a fuss about it. So I don't think we'll hear anything back from it, if I'm honest. I think I saw a clip with Keith Hackett, I think, talking about it, saying that he doesn't think anybody will come out with a statement saying that they've made an opinion on it, because I think they will be almost admitting liability. So I think it's just going to disappear off now, and I don't think we'll ever hear off that again, which is a shame, because it was an utterly incompetent decision and a very poor decision, and it potentially could have cost us that Champions League spot. But no, we will never hear about it again. Brian Ellison. Hi, Brian. Hope you're well. Is the goalkeeper rule change possibly in Unai's thoughts for next season? Right. So I'm going to show you the goalkeeper rule change for next season. It is a little bit of a tweak. So from the 25-26 season, corner kicks will be awarded to opposing teams if goalkeepers hold onto the ball for more than 8 seconds. The International Football Association Board, IFAB, has declared the move, which is an attempt to clamp down on goalkeepers killing time by holding onto the ball for too long, is one of numerous changes to laws of the game. This is a notable move away from the current rules, which state that should goalkeepers hold onto the ball for more than 6 seconds, an indirect free kick is awarded to the opposing team. So the new approach will see referees give goalkeepers a visual 5-second countdown before they release the ball. After trials, it has been shown to be a major positive impact where goalkeepers have been holding onto the ball for too long. The IFAB has unanimously decided to amend the law. The amendment means if goalkeepers hold onto the ball for longer than 8 seconds, the referee will order corner kick to the opposing team rather than the current indirect free kick. So it's changed, but I don't think it will massively affect anybody. I think the big thing is it's going to from an indirect free kick, which we've seen in the box, which are absolute. They're just pointless, aren't they? Because they never really result in anything apart from a massive melee in the box to a corner. Will it affect Emi Martinez next season? Should he still remain our goalkeeper? No. I mean, it gives him, if anything, it gives him 2 extra seconds, and we've seen Emi quite a lot once he collects the ball. He sort of withdraws into his 6-yard box. The 2 centre halves spread either side of him, and he tends to drop the ball fairly quickly most of the time, and then sort of puts his foot on the ball and awaits their press to come onto him, and then he just decides which way he's going, left or right. So I don't think it's going to massively impact on us next season. I think I don't know. I think some goalkeepers will get done for it, and especially you'll see it implemented quite heavily towards the start of the season because they'll want to make a highlight of it. So, but apart from that, no, I don't think it's going to hugely impact on the game next season. This is an interesting one. What is Francesco Calvo's top 3 priorities to increase revenue streams next season? So, yes, he's been brought in as Chris Heck's replacement, so it's going to be a very interesting to see how things change, if they do change. I think, firstly, I think he just needs to hit the ground running and maintain the progress we've made off the pitch. He's obviously got to enhance the commercial and business side of the club, and he's got to make sure that the revenue streams keep going up. Obviously, commercial sponsorships, partnerships need to keep continually done. He's got a decent track record at Juventus. high-profile sponsorships. We need lucrative agreements to be signed. £40 million front of shirt deal reported with Botano. They will obviously come towards the end of next season, and then we can't do betting companies. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of deals the big clubs. They'll all be probably in and around the big companies wanting the big deals. So that's going to have to be sorted, I would think, fairly quickly. We want to compete with the elite of the Premier League. The owners have made no secret of that. So Calvo will be absolutely instrumental in trying to raise Villa's profile off the pitch and continue the upward trajectory of where we're at. We need to obviously tap into Asia, Middle East. We've got to sponsor everything. I know here we are again talking about money in football. We've got to sponsor everything. We need training kit sponsorships, training ground sponsorships. It's never ending, is it? So we've got to literally keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I'm not going to delve massively into this thing, but I think fan engagement, match day revenue, nobody wants to talk about either of these things. There was obviously a lot of talk, and has been a lot of talk, about Chris Heck and the club and the supporters, and obviously the ticket prices. But I don't see anything changing in as much as I think, they're going to try and just get as much as they can out of as much as they can. And I think Calvo has just got to make sure that the engagement with the fan base is good. I think this new fan consultation board, which is being revamped, is very important. I think whoever gets on that needs to make sure that there is an open, honest dialogue with the club on every matter. Ultimately, the club hold all the cards, and I think it's prudent for whoever gets on that board to make sure that they create a nice working relationship with Villa. And if we can get some wins along the way, then that's the way I would be trying to sort of leverage it with that group. You're not going to win every battle, but you've got to make sure that you're in the discussions, and you put the fans, the wider fan base's opinions to the club. And if there is difficult decisions to be made, and the club come to that group with, okay, we feel like we need to do this, then I think the fans have got to go back to them en masse with a big, conversation. And then hopefully we can maybe come to agreement where everybody's happy. That's where we've got to get to. We've got to make sure that the mediation between fans and owners and board needs to be happy. This, we've seen things like dynamic pricing starting to squeak into football now. I don't really want to see that. Ticketing strategies need to be looked at. Where are we at next season with obviously the drop off not being in Champions League? So he's got a huge job on his hand. Global brand, he's got to make sure he gets that. Digital innovation. I don't know. There's so much to do, and we've seen now with the Villa TV, the way that they're trying to increase revenue with social media side of things. We've got to just keep getting the revenue up. I think that's the thing we've got to do. Villa want to get to 400 million, I think, was the target by 2027. So we are closing in on that. I think last year's was around 270 odd million. So we've still got a bit of a way to go. So we've got to keep doing it. Obviously, on the pitch, we've got to keep doing it. We've got to make sure we qualify for Europe again next season. So that's important. But overall, he's got a big job on his hands, and we're going to see that hopefully he can continue the work that Chris Heck has done. Unpopular opinion, not for attention. Is Kamara as good as the hype? I've thought the fan base have overrated him so far. I'm not sure his ceiling is what we think it is. I'd consider taking the money. Would rather keep TIELEMANS every day of the week. I mean, I've no problem with that opinion. Everybody's opinion on each player is different. And I think you look at Kamara, I personally think his ceiling is very, very high. He's obviously had another season where he's been in and out with injuries, so that's disrupted his season. But I think when he's played regularly, and he's been really good, and he would be one of the players that I wouldn't really want to go if I'm honest. If you're asking me, would I rather see Tielemans or Kamara leave? Then I think I'd got to say Kamara to stay because of his age. You know, he's younger. I think there's still more to come from him. And I think you'd get a good premium for Youri Tielemans now. I'd rather them both stay, to be honest. But I don't mind this question, to be honest. I don't mind it at all. Chris Dolan. No player sale is off the table this summer. I feel this squad needs a big shake-up anyway. Still nowhere near an Emery team. I think this is a really interesting point by Chris. Thanks for the question. You know my points view on the no player sale is off the table. I'm totally on board with that. I think we'll have to take every single offer on its merits and decide whether it will benefit us. And if they deem that's the case, then that deal will be done. I think we are probably due another shake-up of the squad, which I think is going to happen this summer. And the point about being nowhere near an Emery team, I think is a fair point as well. You know, he's had 4 transfer windows, I think, now. And there's still a lot of players on the books that aren't players that he's signed. You know, I think he's done really, really well with the players he's got. But, you know, he's still got, you know, Emi Martinez isn't his player, Luca Dean, Esri Konsa, Tyrone Mings, Matty Cash, Kamara. You know, there's all these players aren't his players. Ollie Watkins, you know, they're all signed before he came in. So there's still, you know, you would think there's still players out there that he would want to bring in of a different profile and a different type. And obviously, you know, you've still got to go within the budget of the club, haven't you? So there's probably players that he would have wanted to bring in, and he couldn't do those deals. So I think there's still a lot of work to be done on the transfer market. I think we're going to see quite a big summer again. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. So that's it. Thank you very much for those questions. If you've got any more questions or if you want to add to anything I've said, just go in the comment section. It's always buzzing after one of these episodes. And it's very interesting to hear everybody's point of view. There's no wrong answers. Everybody's got an opinion and you are all entitled to them. As long as you're all kind in the comment section, that's all I ask for, then that's fantastic. So one more thing to talk about. So we'll just have a quick break and then we'll be back with the final part of the show. So the final bit is just a quick update of where I am with the weight loss and issues and where we're at with that. I've had an unbelievable week. Honestly, I can't tell you how many messages, emails, direct messages off Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, off YouTube. Honestly, the love and the support I've been shown, offers of help, dieting advice, fitness advice. Man versus Fat got in touch. That was fantastic. Personal trainers have been in touch asking if I need any help with anything. Honestly, I've been inundated and it just shows there is definitely an appetite out there for people to get together and try and improve our physical and mental health. You know, it's a big buzzword over the last few years, mental health. But for me, I think it ties in with your physical health. I think if you feel better, you think better. So I think that's where I'm going to be at over the next few weeks. So I am picking up my first batch of Monjaro today as it stands. I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 10th of June. And my plan is to do the first injection on Friday evening because I'm off at the weekend. So if I do get any side effects, then I'll be at home. I won't be at work. And the plan going forward is I won't be talking about this anymore on the Justin Talks Villa, these episodes. I'm going to do them on my Justin Talks feed, but I'll be putting a different thumbnail on them. So you'll be able to differentiate where they are. And if you don't want to look at them or watch them, that's absolutely fine. I understand that they won't be as watched as the Villa ones, because the Villa ones have gone really, really well. And I know you're all here for Villa content. This is just a bit of a byproduct of where I have found myself and where I want to try and improve myself physically and mentally. And I think there certainly seems to be an appetite there for people to follow along on the journey and to interact. And hopefully I can bring a few people along with me and help them along the way. So I've got 3 conversations lined up with people to put out on that side of things. So I'm talking to my personal trainer that I spoke to at the gym, that's going to try and give me an insight of where he thinks I should be whilst on it to try and lose weight and get fitter, and with weight training mainly. And I have got a long-term friend who I've known for many, many years, who's currently just finishing her degree at university on nutrition. And she's fantastic. Honestly, she's fantastic. She's been badgering me for years to try and help me lose weight. So she's over the moon that I'm trying to go down this road. And she's agreed to come on and talk about the nutrition side of things. She's fascinating. She's got a lot of information. I think she's going on to do a master's as well in it. So she's really, really good. And I hope you'll get a bit of stuff off her. And I'm also talking to the clinical pharmacist who is doing the Monjaro with me. He's the one that I've gone to. I've done all the correct things to make sure I can't think of the word. You know, the consultation and submitting my medication and everything I'm on. And he's agreed to come on and talk me. Basically, I had about an hour's long conversation with him. It won't be that long, so I'm going to try and get it down to a few minutes. And he'll go through what it is, what it does, and how it hopefully will help me alongside a good diet and a good exercise program of getting to where I want to be. So this was the last time I talk about it on here. I will be a standalone episode. I'm hoping a few people might watch it and it'll help a few people. I understand it won't be as exciting as talking about Villa, but I think it will definitely help me. And if you want to sort of go along with how it's going, then please feel free to jump on and help out. There's also a on Twitter, I've got a group called Justin Talks Thinner, and if you want to join that, you can. A lot of people are jumping in and out talking about issues and things that helping them with their weight loss journey. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me what everybody's doing. Drop a comment in the comment section. Please like this video, and there are memberships available to help the channel along and help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming along this journey with me, and up the Villa.